Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Amit, and in today's video, I'm going to Istanbul, Turkey to get my second hair transplant. And I'm bringing you guys along with me. Let's go. Made it. We're in Istanbul, Turkey, and I'm gonna get my ride now to the hotel, and then we'll figure out what to do from there.
Once you get to the airport, the clinic will send you a message to look out for a specific gate and pickup number once you exit the airport. As soon as you find the pickup number, one of the clinic's representatives will escort you to the pickup van where there will be a driver waiting for you to help you with your luggage, and then you'll be on your way. The hotel I stayed at was Elite World Asia. This was the hotel that the clinic arranged for me as it was part of the package for a 3-day, 2-night stay completely free of charge. The hotel was pretty nice, as you can see from here. And here I'm just making my way to my room. As soon as I entered the room, all I could say was, wow. The room was big enough for myself and the bathrooms were pretty neat and clean. After that, I pretty much started preparing my outfit for the next day. The clinic suggested to be in something loose and comfortable, as the surgery could last up to 6 to 8 hours. Alright, so after getting to the hotel and settling in, I finally ordered some food for myself from room service. The hotel's pretty nice, really enjoying myself here, but tomorrow is the day of the surgery. I got a message from the clinic saying that I gotta be up early at 7:40 a.m. So I gotta be up pretty early because I want to enjoy the breakfast that comes together with this hotel package as well. If you guys are going to get a hair transplant from Turkey, make sure you choose a very loose t-shirt or a buttoned up shirt because you're going to have a lot of trouble taking it off afterwards once you do your surgery. So just a tip, as you saw earlier, I am wearing a buttoned shirt this time around. The first time I went, I did not do that, which I wish I knew beforehand, but this time around, if you are getting that hair transplant done, make sure you wear a buttoned shirt before you go. All right, I'm going to get some rest now and I will see you guys in the morning. Alright, so I just got up. It's way too early in the morning for me, but I've taken a shower, I've gotten ready. I'm just gonna go head down to get some breakfast, and then we're gonna go straight to the clinic. One last thing is that I'm definitely gonna miss this hair. They're gonna be cutting it off today, back to square one to get this transplant done. But yeah, I'm gonna really miss it. After enjoying my breakfast with the view, I met the driver who was taking me to the clinic in the transport provided. And within a short 10-minute drive, we had arrived to Vera Clinic. Here you can see me entering the clinic and being greeted by the friendly staff at the entrance. I was then assigned to a translator for my entire time there, and the staff were just showing me around the clinic before I headed to my doctor's consultation.
Your name, like a similar like Indian name, I don't know.
So I'm Indian, but I was born in America.
Okay.
But I lived in Singapore, Vancouver, and now. So I'm like
everywhere.
That's why it's hard to say I'm from one place.
I then met my doctor who was assigned to me for my operation. His name was Dr. Kareem, and he was super helpful in answering all my questions or concerns that I had. He started asking me about basic questions such as if I was currently on any type of medications, had any allergies to any medications, if I had a history of health problems, or any major surgeries in the past. Answering these questions gave the doctor and his team a better understanding of my history and whether there was any red flags before proceeding with the operation. From there, he then started to proceed with examining my scalp.
Yeah, I think the front hairline looks great. The mid scalp is looking pretty good as well. There is I think a slight lack, but you know I think it's okay for me. It's not like the end of the world. My priority is to get the crown done, so I want to see how much we can get out of that first. Okay.
The doctor then proceeded with examining my donor hair to see how many grafts would be able to be extracted for the procedure. He then used this fancy machine to check how deep the incisions can go onto my scalp. Based off of what was on the screen, it showed that it can go as deep as 5 millimeters. The doctor mentioned that a good amount is roughly between 4 to 5 millimeters. After this, he used a magnoscope device to check my hair follicles on my scalp to see my existing transplanted hairs on my hairline and mid-scalp, and of course the empty crown. He was taking a look at the quality of my donor hair to see how much was able to be extracted and placed onto my crown. And then he proceeded to take a look at the grafts in the donor hair to see how many consisted of single, double, and triple hair follicles. Once that was done, he then proceeded to draw an outline of where the transplanted grafts should be in. He put the line lower on my crown as well to ensure I would be covered even if I were to have any further hair loss of my existing hairs in the future after the transplant.
Some grafts to our middle region so we can increase the density here.
Okay.
And we will go for maximum extraction. Let's see how many we can extract safely.
How many grafts do you think?
My estimation, let's see. It's around 35 to 40 grafts.
The doctor asked me if I had any questions, which I proceeded to ask him.
So I have one question. You know how, so I've been checking online as well, when you do the crown, there's a certain way that you do the crown, like it has to be slightly...
Yes, there will be a whirl motion.
So that's, I'm guessing you guys do that.
Yes, I mean the grafts will grow in accordance with your existing hairs.
Okay.
So we will make the incisions based on the existing hair growth.
And once I was satisfied with the full consultation with my doctor, we then proceeded downstairs to sign a bunch of waiver forms, the kind that make sure the clinic isn't viable for anything that goes wrong. Obviously nothing ever really does go wrong, but just in case. And after that, we went to the changing room to get prepped for surgery. My blood pressure was taken at this point, and I received a tranquil injection and some medications to help me relax before the procedure. After that, we went to take pictures of the before I get my head shaved look. Once the photo shoot was done, then we moved on to the second worst part of this entire procedure, getting my head shaved yet again. You can notice that at every little stage of your hair transplant, there is always someone assigned to a specific role in doing what they need to do to get to the surgery. In this case, the guy who was shaving my head also was the one who was in charge of tracing a line on my donor area to showcase to the surgeons later on where the extraction would take place. Oh my gosh.
Back to square one.
After this, I went back into the photo booth session to take photos of my head with a shaved look. We then proceeded down to the surgery room where I was humbly greeted by my name on the door before I entered. They made me lay on my stomach and then proceeded to bandage my head up before moving on to the anesthesia shots. These shots numb the corners of the donor area so as to make it less painful when the anesthesia is injected in later. In all honesty, the injection part was still pretty painful, but after a few short minutes, the pain subsides and your head becomes numb. And then this is when the extraction part begins. Although the doctor wasn't exactly doing the surgery himself, it was done by very qualified technicians who knew exactly what they were doing, so I was very confident in them getting the result that I wanted. The surgeon then very carefully starts to extract the hair follicles on my donor area using the FUE extraction method. And after about 3 hours of surgery, they start cleaning up my head, wrapping me in bandages, and allowing me to go for a quick toilet break. Just done with part 1. Now I'm eating food in preparation for part 2. Give me a little sandwich and some juice. That's all you need to get a little energy, but let's see. Now comes the insertion part where they will be implanting the extracted grafts from my donor hair into my scalp. There was another round of anesthesia injections, but this time at the front of my head, which was still as equally as painful. But after a while, the pain goes away, basically like an artist at work. If artists were masters at poking holes all day, that's pretty much what he did. And after a couple more hours of this process of him poking the holes in my scalp, he then proceeded to implant the donor grafts onto my scalp and complete the process within 3 hours. After finishing the surgery, I went up to change. Then I got briefed on what I needed to do after the procedure by their staff. And finally, I was escorted to my pickup van that was taking me back to the hotel. All right, I just got back to the hotel. As you can see, the hair transplant is done. The crown is finally covered, and we're gonna check it out now. Tonight, I still have an OxyCure session to attend, followed by the next day where the clinic's gonna wash my hair and probably try to sell me on some supplements. But I do have a lot to bring up about the entire procedure that I've gone through, but I probably will do that at the end of the video or on the next video. All right, there's a few things to know that once you get back from your hair transplants, Vera Clinic provides you with a little goodie bag. You have your sleeping neck pillow. This is basically to go around so you don't touch anything on your head while you sleep. Followed by, they provide you with a bunch of medication, which is antibiotics and painkillers because it hurts like a bitch. They also provide some medicine for swelling. You have to take 2 pills for the first 2 days at a time, and then it goes 1 to 1 after that. And lastly, they provide you finally with the bucket hat for the first 5 days at least for you to wear over your head. I'm not going to do that now because I just had a hair transplant, but this can only be used after the 2nd or 3rd day. I still wouldn't probably use it unless you really had to like avoid the rain or avoid the sunlight, then yeah, you can use this. But yeah, I'm not really going to be touching on this too much. All right, it's just about time to head out from my OxyCure session, so I'll see you guys over there. One more thing I forgot. They provide you with a little pillowcase to put over your pillow while you sleep, basically to avoid any bleeding that's going to be leaking out from this whole situation onto the pillows. So they provide you with one for now. Usually after the 1st or 2nd day the bleeding stops, but it does help when you're sleeping on a pillow and you don't want to have any blood on it, especially if it's your actual own pillow at home. So use this. So I didn't get a lot of footage for the OxyCure sessions, mainly because we weren't allowed to use our phones inside of the chamber, but I met a lot of friendly people on my journey there. We basically sit in this chamber for about 90 minutes, inhaling and exhaling the oxygen that's being pumped into the chamber through a gas mask. The point of doing this was to get the oxygen pumping into you, and it stimulates more blood circulation as well as red blood cells, which is proven to give the new transplanted grafts more circulation to grow at a quicker rate. It was pretty late after getting back to the hotel after the session, so it was time to get ready for bed. I stacked up a bunch of pillows together in order for me to be able to sleep in an upright 45-degree angle position, placed the pillowcase sheet over the pillows to make sure no blood was touching them, and put on my neck pillow that was provided by the clinic. The best way to put this on is by putting it on from the side and not over your head. Finally, I get into bed and I put the covers on. You can see that this position is working well as my head is not touching the pillows behind me. Finally, it's time to get some sleep. All right, day 2, yet another very early morning. Heading out to the 2nd OxyCure session. It's gonna be a 90-minute session again this morning. Gonna go down for breakfast, go for the session, then head straight to the clinic for my first wash after my hair transplant. All right, so the 2nd OxyCure session just finished and I'm back at the hotel, waiting for my ride to go to the clinic to get my hair washed. See that? That means somebody bumped their head at the top of this van, unfortunately. It's very easy to bump your head here because it's pretty low raising roof, so you gotta be careful. I get back to the clinic. The friendly staff is applying the moisturizer onto my scalp. Once the moisturizer is on, I have to wait about 30 minutes before I can actually wash it all off. This is to make sure my head stays moisturized, especially the areas that I've been transplanted in. Once we wash the hair afterwards, we'll be using the shampoo to rinse it all off. In the meantime, they offer me to sit down in their cafeteria, chill out for a little bit, and have a drink while I wait for the time to pass by. And soon after, I was right back into the same room, getting ready for my hair wash. The first thing that they did was sit me down and slowly take off the bandages that were on the back of my head. This, I'm not gonna lie, was a little painful because of how sensitive my head was after the surgery. After this, they put a cloth around my neck and slowly laid me down onto the sink to wash my hair. They started using a spray bottle to spray off all of the excess blood that was lingering on from the bandages that I was wearing earlier. And then you can see here she would slowly rub my head up with the 2 fingers as the method is shown to best be used when you are trying to wash your hair after a hair transplant. The next thing she does is apply the shampoo. So she starts rubbing the shampoo on my donor area in a circular motion all around from the sides to the back. And for the top, it's the same thing, dabbing it with 2 fingers. After that, she uses very low pressure water to be able to rinse off all the moisturizer and the shampoo all together at once. And finally dries me off with a paper towel just on the top and the sides. She then proceeds to spray some antiseptic spray all over my donor area to make sure that there's no infection afterwards. And then they proceed on placing a black band over my head. This is to avoid the swelling of the anesthesia of my head to trickle down onto my face. This holds up the swelling in my scalp throughout the whole time, for the next 3 days at least. Last but not least, we head into a laser therapy session that lasts about 10 minutes, and the goal of this is to also enhance the grafts that have just been implanted onto my head. And with that, my entire procedure has been complete. And just like that, it's a wrap. Heading back to the hotel, gonna rest for the day, and fly back tomorrow. I'm back at the hotel now after a long procedure of getting the hair transplant done, and then after that going back for the second wash. Everything is now finally complete. Just before I left, I was offered to purchase some of the supplements that they had, which I have bought. I'll list it all down later on, but for now, I just wanted to show you this entire experience of the hair transplant that I went through. Hopefully it gives you guys a better insight of what it's like to get a hair transplant. Now it's just the road to recovery, and I'll give you guys updates along the way. Thanks for tuning in for this entire journey. I'm going to put my honest review about the clinic and this experience in another video, but this video is just to showcase the experience that I had. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. Alright, I'm at the airport. It's a little hard walking through all this, but honestly there's so many other people like me here. That's not that, it's weird. But I'm finally on the way home.